exit polls last night put the SNP on course for a spectacular victory in Scotland and on a collision course with Boris Johnson. The poll, revealed when voting closed at 10 p.m. across the country, put the Conservatives on 368 seats with Labour on just 191. Crucially, it also had the SNP winning 55 of the 59 Scottish seats. If accurate, it will set up a clash between the SNP with a huge victory in Scotland with the Prime Minister over a second referendum. While it was only an early indication, it would see the Tories on course for their first majority government since David Cameron won in 2015, which prompted the EU referendum a year later. The party needed to win 326 seats for a majority. If it turns out to be accurate once all seats are counted today, it would mean Boris Johnson will take the UK out of the EU and also give him enough to block any requests for a second independence referendum from the SNP. Nicola Sturgeon said while the exit poll suggests a good night for the SNP, she added that what it indicates UK-wide though is grim. Ms Sturgeon is already preparing to send a letter to the Prime Minister before Christmas seeking powers for Holyrood to hold a referendum. SNP politicians at the count in Glasgow, at the SEC, were delighted by the poll. Alison Thewlis, who was SNP candidate in Glasgow Central, said, "It would strengthen our mandate for a referendum." Boris Johnson had campaigned on calling for voters to back him to get enough MPs to get a Brexit deal through the House of Commons. If the polls turn out to be true, then the SNP would have taken several seats back from the Tories in Scotland. In 2015, the SNP won 56 of Scotland's 59 seats, with the Tories, Labour and Lib Dems retaining just one apiece. Should the polls be accurate, then Nicola Sturgeon's party will have pulled off another stunning result on the back of growing support for a second independence referendum, but also on clear opposition across Scotland to Brexit. The Tories in England had campaigned almost exclusively on Get Brexit Done, which looks to have been successful, with a majority of people in England voting Leave in 2016. Meanwhile, their message in Scotland was no to a second independence referendum. Labour campaigned on social issues and their message of negotiating another deal with the EU member states to leave before then have a second referendum on the deal looks to have been unappealing to a majority of voters in England, and their opposition to a second referendum in Scotland looks like have been rejected too. The poll was disastrous for Jo Swinson, putting the Liberal Democrats on just 13 seats across the UK. For more on this story, visit the news article link.